Hi, everyone. My name is Elizabeth, and today we'll be talking about reinforcement in parenting. So to begin, we're going to talk about what reinforcement is and why parents should use it. So reinforcement is a technique to encourage behaviors you want to see in your child. Reinforcement can teach new skills, teach replacement behavior, increase appropriate or desired behaviors, etc. It also teaches children that desired behavior leads to positive consequences. Okay, now we'll talk a little bit about why we want to avoid negative language with our children. So to begin, negative language can just have lasting impacts. We know that negative language can cause confusion and also create learning and memory issues. It's also a lot easier to encourage a behavior than it is to discourage one. So if we tell them what not to do, that leaves a lot of ambiguity, a lot of things unclear, which leads to ineffectiveness in instructions. What we actually want to do is transform our no's, our don'ts, and our stops, and be clear about exactly what we do want them to do. For example, instead of telling our child, don't tie your shoes like that, we can tell them, try tying your shoes like this, and then show them how to do it. It's easier to tell them what to do than what not to do, because that causes a lot of confusion. Okay, first we'll go into positive reinforcement and what it is and some examples. So positive reinforcement is encouraging behavior by providing something rewarding. For example, if your child puts their plate away after dinner, the positive reinforcement can be a piece of candy that maybe they like after they eat their dinner. Other examples are praising them, maybe a fun activity, a board game, physical rewards, like we said, a piece of candy. And something important to keep in mind is that these rewards should be value consistent and developmentally appropriate. So we want to keep it appropriate for their age and make sure that we're consistent with our rewards, not giving them something that's of less value and then maybe next time more value, because it can create a little bit of confusion. Okay, now we'll go into negative reinforcement. Negative reinforcement is strengthening a behavior by removing something negative or aversive, something that maybe they don't like. So for example, if your child displays ideal behavior, they're doing something that they should be doing, you can remove maybe a chore from their list, because typically children don't enjoy chores. So it's removing something negative or aversive to them. Okay, now that we talked about positive and negative reinforcement, we're going to try out this activity to try to see if we kind of get the hang of this. So the first one says target behavior. It says you want your child to get in the habit of making their bed in the morning. So this is what we want to see develop in our child. So on the off chance, on the one day that we see our child actually complete the task, so our child makes their bed in the morning, what is something that we can do to positively reinforce their behavior? So remember, this is kind of like giving them a reward. So what can we do to reinforce and kind of make it more likely that they make their bed again in the future? Okay, so the example that I gave is reward them with a donut before school. So right after they make their bed, you can reward them with that donut. It's also important that the rewards are immediate. So there's not a delay of time, because that can also cause a little bit of confusion. Okay, now we have negative reinforcement. So the target behavior here is that you want your child to complete their homework before dinner time. So the one day that they complete this, so they finish their homework before you make that dinner time call, what is something you can do to negatively reinforce their behavior? Remember that we are reinforcing this behavior by removing something that maybe they don't like, something aversive. Okay, so the example here that I gave is that they no longer have to help do the dishes after dinner. So if they finish their homework before dinner time, their reward is that they don't have to help wash the dishes after dinner. I'm pretty sure they'll be psyched about that. Okay, so now we will go into this, which is now you try. So the directions are the same. So we want to choose a behavior that you want your child to develop and identify a positive or negative reinforcer that you could use to encourage that behavior. So this is kind of a little bit of practice just for you parents, caregivers, anybody out there that can find this useful. So in the first box, we would write the target behavior. So what you specifically want to see your child develop in their behavior. And then on the one day that they do complete the task, what is something that you can do to reinforce their behavior? So this is kind of just a practice run. I'd like you, if possible, to just pause this video, try out the activity, and then I'd love to see what you can all come up with. So this can be either positive or negative reinforcement, so providing reward or taking away something aversive. Okay, here are just some last thoughts. Find out what motivates your child. Some rewards may not be motivating to some children, and they might be motivating to others. So it's important to see what our children like and what motivates them. That can be super helpful. Also, reinforcement works for all ages, not just children. And this doesn't always work on the first try. It is not foolproof, but it's important to be patient and just try again, because it has been proven that reinforcement can be very effective. And also, reinforcement and positive language leads to positive outcomes and positive communication skills for future relationships for our children. So it's a really awesome technique that we can use every day to really help foment these positive outcomes and skills for our children. So I hope you can all try this at home, and I'll leave some resources on the screen and in the description box so it's easier to click them. And just thank you for stopping by today and watching our video. We hope that you can watch a few others of ours, and just thank you.